That's a woman's primary need, security. Some of the tools that we use in our relationship with our wife is communication. When we first got married, in all honesty, and we both would say that our first year was difficult. And we had some other elements involved with that besides just being the first year of marriage. Also, as my wife mentioned, she unplugged herself and her two sons. We had instant family when we married. And they had to move to Denmark. So there was also the whole cultural shift that played into the first year of our marriage in Denmark.
And I had to learn a new language. Yeah. So did my kids.
But whenever there were some issues, because she is a woman, she would like to talk about it. I did not want to talk about it. I did not like to talk about my feelings and things like that. So men and women are different in that way. Men use more of their left side of their brain, which is more logical, rational problem solving, whereas the women use more of the right brain, which is directed by her emotions. So if a woman wants to talk, she wants to talk about feelings and why this and why that, and a man doesn't really want to get into that part of it. He just wants to see is there some way that we can get this fixed quick and move on. So what I would do in Denmark, she would just keep pressing me. She wanted to talk. And I would just leave the room.
Isn't that frustrating? I mean, when hello, we want to talk, and you walk away. Ah!
It takes too long. But we need to learn to listen. We need to learn to listen.
But you ladies need to communicate fairly too.
Yes. But see, listening is not just hearing, with the physical ear, just hear some words coming out. But it's about trying to understand what she's actually saying. What is going on inside her heart? What is happening? And we're not going to have time tonight because I have some skills that teach us how to be better listeners. But we really need to take the time to try and understand and get some feedback and make sure by asking questions, is this really what I'm hearing? Is this really am I understanding you correctly? So it's not just hearing the words, Right now we have a situation going on in regards to listening and hearing. My wife says I need to go get a hearing test because sometimes I don't exactly hear what she's saying. And so now I'm in this dilemma. Okay, if I say my hearing is good, then it's like I'm not paying attention. I'm not listening to her at all. I'm blowing her off. And so that's one option I have. The other option is I can go and get my ears checked and they find out that, maybe I have a hearing problem. Then I'm safe. But if they say my hearing is good, I'm in trouble. So we need to learn how to listen, which has to do with also helping her and ourselves to understand how we feel. We need to express to her that we admire her, we love her, that she's beautiful, that she's precious, that she has her style, and that we love her style. That we appreciate the things that she does around the house, the things like she picked out my clothes tonight. And something also when she cooks a meal, we shouldn't take it for granted. Don't just sit down at the table and eat and get up and without saying thank you. I really appreciate that you did that. Thank you so much, darling. Uh-oh. Okay. See, that was nonverbal communication. Okay. We all have different ways to do this, but send a card, buy some flowers once in a while, Call her from
Yeah.
work. Call her from work. I'm really bad about that. I get so busy with my work, and then all of a sudden it's 3 o'clock. It's like, okay. If I call now, it's like I'm calling because she thinks I'm thinking that I have to because I haven't called yet, so it doesn't really count. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if I call, it's better to call early in the day because it shows that you're proactively thinking that you want to hear.
That you
from
hated
her.
to leave her in the first place. Do you know what I'm saying?
So, if you want to call her, don't call her like 5 minutes till 5. Call her early in the day.
Are you listening to yourself?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. Can I buy a recording? This is being recorded, right, Pastor Margaret? Okay. So I need to purchase a recording of this. Yeah, we need to. Yeah, we'll move it. Open her car door. Hold her hand and when in public. Don't be ashamed. Don't be embarrassed.
He's really good at that. He always holds my hand.
Don't walk ahead of her. You can't do that if you're holding hands. So.
He used to do that. And you know what I did one day? I finally just stopped and waited to see how far he'd go before he realized I wasn't with him. He quit doing that.
Okay. So, the preparation for physical intimacy, some marriage counselors said it starts in the kitchen. Okay? Help with the dishes, pick things up, get the kids ready for bed, pick up the house. You know, so that she's not exhausted when she comes to the bedroom. Conversation, very important. All right. You need to lead the wife. Not dominate her, but to lead her. Just like Christ leads us.
You need to ask, is there anything that I can do for you? I'll do it. I knew he would need me to help him put himself together real fast to go with what I was wearing, so I did it. Because I love him. I'm going to go fast now, ladies. The way I talk to him is sweeter than I would talk to anybody else, even the kids. And I don't neglect my husband because of the house or the children. Tell him you are glad to see he's home. When I'm home and I'm not at work, I am terrible about staying sloppy in the house the whole time. I would never go to the door the way I look sometimes. I mean, I wait till the last minute and I'll look at the clock and I go, oh my gosh, it's 4 o'clock. My husband's going to be home around 5:30. I better jump in the shower and get ready and put on my makeup, and I need to smell good and I need to look good, honey. Because when he gets home, hello, there's a lot of competition out there. And so I better look good and I better smell good. And I know when we first got married, that was one of the things he appreciated the most, because he said, I never knew how your hair was going to be when you got home. It's kind of exciting, because I would fix my hair in different ways. So remember that. You got to look good, ladies. Never, ever. I don't care how old you are. We are seniors. Hello? And I'm still trying my best to look good. Okay? Jesus is in him, and I told you this earlier in the beginning, so don't say anything to him you couldn't say to the Lord. Tell him how strong and handsome he is. I was telling him that on the way over. I just love the way he looks. I love it when my husband's got a suit on. I love my husband's hands. There's something so masculine about when he's holding that wheel and he's got his sleeve rolled up. I don't know what it is, but it's like, he's my man.
Yes.
So you need to let him know that. Ladies, if you won't give up a friend for him, then you're communicating that that friend of yours is more important to you than he is. I have a friend of mine that we go out shopping sometimes, and I tell her, I need to go home now, because we're together, we're in one car, it's our car. I need to go home now, because I got to fix something to eat for my husband. And she says, but he's a grown man, he can fix something for himself. I said, I know, but I don't want to. I need to get home to my husband. And oh my goodness, you'll give me, just let me shop one more, little bit more. It drives me crazy, because I want to get home to him, okay? Don't neglect him by staying on the phone with friends or mother. Don't sit there all night on Facebook. Men don't like that. Don't stay at your mom's or out with friends and neglect your responsibilities at home. You'll lose your man. He deserves to come home to a clean house and a meal. Think about if you're working, and many of you ladies do, when you come home, wouldn't it be nice to smell something good cooking and have the house clean? There's something about when the house is clean. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Amen?
Amen.
I'm getting a little older, so I'm getting a little tired. So if I've been at work with him, sometimes we'll just pick something up. But I still mostly cook, even when I get home. We just share. We're beginning to share a little bit more now in the effort because I get tired. And he's an amazing man. So he'll be chopping up the lettuce or the tomatoes or whatever it is. So it's more of a joint effort, and then I don't feel the burden of it so much. Where was I? Yes. We need to display understanding and empathy in our marriages. And what does it feel like for the other person? Like I said, put yourself in their shoes. Wonder what it would be like. That's what God said to me one time. Jenny, do you ever wonder what it would feel like being married to you? Or receiving those words you just gave out, your mouth? Yipes. Okay, that'll bring you to sober attention when God speaks to you that way. So listen to the Lord, listen for His voice, because He will speak to you, He'll convict you. Make it right away, okay?
Man, here's a question for us. What does my family, what does my wife and my kids feel like when they see me coming home? Are the kids scattering, going to their room, closing their doors? Is the wife getting busy? Or are they happy to see him back home? We need to ask ourselves those questions. Matthew 6:21 says, "For where our treasure is, there our heart will be also." So we need to ask the Holy Spirit tonight to show us, as my wife just mentioned, try to put ourselves in our spouse's shoes. What do I need to change? So our sister said earlier too, change begins in ourselves. Change begins with us. And early on in our marriage, my wife really wanted me to change. She wanted to change me, but the Lord had a word for her that said, just worry about yourself, I'll worry about him. Paraphrased really quickly here. So, another question to us men. Can we say to our spouse, I will never turn my heart away from you? Can we say that? Honestly.
You've got to say this one.
Okay, a woman needs a knight in shining armor. Okay?
We couldn't miss that one. Isn't that right, ladies?
Knight in shining armor.
Knight in shining armor.
To shine up the armor takes effort. You need to stay on top of it, clean it off all the time. All right. Her heart's cry is to pray for me. Well, actually, her heart's cry is for the husband to pray for her, and not for her to carry her burdens alone, to protect her and stand up for her, and not to let others take advantage of her. Again, the question is, where's your heart? Just go in there.
You want me to go on down the list?
Yeah, just go
Okay.
there.
The home has to be a place of refuge. Proverbs 31:11 through 12 says about the woman, this is the virtuous woman. Her husband has full confidence in her and lacks nothing of value. She brings him good, not harm, all the days of her life. That God demonstrates His own love for us in this. While we were still sinners, Christ died for us. And today is the day that He did that, isn't it?
Yeah.
He didn't love us because we were obedient or kind or thoughtful or perfect. He loved us because we were created in His image. Love is not an emotion. Love is a decision.
Let me say that again. Love is not an emotion. It's a decision. It's a decision. So the expression of our love, the commitment of our love, is what brings God into our marriages. If we let His love be complete in our marriages and sustaining our marriages. So if we want this love to be enduring, to be lifelong, we have to realize that we can't get there by trying harder, but rather by going to God and involving Him, receiving His love, to pass it on, letting God transform us so that we love because He first loved us. So, the best marriages are when two different persons, two different people, they grow together and become friends. And we can truly say that. Finally, in Judges 2:10 we read, "When all that generation had been gathered to their fathers, another generation arose after them who did not know the Lord, nor the work which He had done for Israel." How tragic what we read in Judges, that the values of God in the family were not passed down through the generations. And I'll leave you with this. Someone said, you and I, we are an ancestor to someone yet to come. If we live knowing that we are an ancestor, it will change the way that we make our decisions. It will change the way that we live our life, the way that we love our spouses and our children. We are an ancestor. May God help us to keep that in mind so that we can leave a legacy of love and service to our children so that they will be proud to pass it on to their children as well. Amen.